Jai Shri Ram. So now we will be discussing the relevance of Ramayana to modern life. Many of us might think that Ramayana, which has happened probably some lakhs of years ago, and how is that even relevant to the lives that we lead now? In our country, we normally talk about Lord Rama as Lord Sri Rama as Maryada Purushottam. So by the time when Ramayana was happening, because it is an itihasam, and the meaning of itihasam means this happened that way. So that's history. By the time Ramayana happened, Ravana, who was the ruler of Lanka and pretty much the entire world except for some parts, he did a great penance and he appeased Lord Brahma. He won over Lord Brahma with his tapasya, and post his tapasya, he asked for a boon in which he reads a long list of people who should not be able to kill him. And in that, he doesn't even utter the word Nara and Vanara. He says, what can a Nara, what can a man do? What can a Vanara do? What can a man do? A man is nothing. I want a boon where Rakshasas can't kill me, Devatas will not be able to kill me, Yakshas, Kinnaras, Kimpurushas. He'll talk about all names. He'll take names of all types of beings except for humans, because he fundamentally believes that humans are incapable of doing anything great. So that was the attitude of Ravanasura. And around that time, Lord Vishnu takes an avatar and he comes out and he kills Ravana. And we all know this. Lord Sri Rama does that. We all know this. But then there is one fundamental difference between Lord Vishnu taking any other avatar and Rama avataram. Because in any other avatara, Lord Vishnu manifests himself, he comes out and he kills a demon, and then he goes back to Vaikuntha. But here, he stays on the earth for 11,000 years. He says in the first sarga of Ramayana itself, it is said Dasavarsha Sahasrani, Dasavarsha Sadanicha, Ramo Rajyam Upasitva Brahmalokam Prayasiti, which essentially means that Sri Mahavishnu lived like a human in the form of Rama and gave us all the virtues we need. He showed us the ideal example of how a person should live, how a son should live, how a brother should live, how a husband should live. And as such, Ramayana lets us know or gives us an example of how to live, and sometimes it also shows how not to live. We'll cover all that in the subsequent talks that we do. Now, once we see why I took up the word Maryada Purushottam at the beginning is, see, definitely Lord Rama is divine. It is an avatar of Sri Mahavishnu. So we know Lord Sri Rama is divinity manifested on the earth. However, till he killed Ravana, Lord Rama did not show up his divinity anywhere. Lord Sri Rama never did that. He tried to live like a human. So when you look at Ramayana and when you look at Lord Sri Rama as a human being, from a human being's perspective, the amount of learning that will happen to every one of us is indeed amazing. Why? His father gave a word to someone and he ensured that that word becomes truth. Now, if you think no that of Rama as God, manifestation of Vishnu and all, then you would obviously say, "Are no, he is Bhagavan by himself. If he is not able to do, who would be able to do?" So there's a chance that we might probably not even realize the greatness of it. But now look at him as a human being. Now look at him as a human being. Look at him as a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old, because there's a sloka that comes as Una Shodasha Varshome, means as a 15-year-old, to protect a sage, he is going out with his bow and arrows along with his brother. That's when he walks along with Vishwamitra. Now look at it as a humanly work. Then you would understand how much we can learn from that one particular situation. Somebody calls him the night before and says, tomorrow you're going to be the king. And the next morning, somebody else calls him and says, no, you're not going to be the king. Your brother is going to be the king. You have to go to Vanvas for 14 years. Now, if you look at it as God, you will say, oh, it was God. He is able to do anything. But when you look at it as a human, as a person, as a man, then you will realize, array, how did he handle such a huge disappointment? Probably I'll go read it and I'll try to learn the lessons from there, and I want to handle the disappointments in my life also in such similar way. Somebody kidnaps his wife, takes her away when he is not in. Again, when you look at him like God, he is God, so he'll go and get her back. But then look at him as a human, because Rama was more or less completely like a human. He never showed his divinity till the death of Ravana. So he was like a human. So now, when we are hit by a trouble in our lives, and Rama, and when we remember, Arey, no, Rama was also hit by troubles in his life, and Lord Sri Rama, he took the help of what he tried to muster whatever resources he could, he marshaled whatever resources he could, and then and then he set out on a 3,000-mile journey where he went and found his wife. Arey, such a wonderful idea, such a wonderful thing that man did. Why can't I learn something from there? So when you look at Ramayana as a man's life, when you look at Ramayana as how a man tried to win in all odds without losing dharma, without losing the focus on dharma. That's the biggest lesson we can learn from Ramayana. From Ramayana, we can learn a lot. We can learn Sekuna Shastra. We can learn how brothers should live together. We can learn how muhurtas were kept in the previous years when things were happening. We get a lot of insights about that age when we read Ramayana. So Ramayana is extremely relevant because brothers and sisters exist in this generation. And Ramayana teaches us how brothers and sisters can live. Uh, there are troublemakers. Ramayana teaches us how to handle troublemakers. There are loyalists. Ramayana teaches us how to handle loyalists. So this is a vast thing that we are taking a leap into, and it's extremely essential for today's generation to hear this, because one, it really indeed changes the way you look at the world. It gives you a great amount of confidence, and two, it also gives us a lot of tips and tricks in which or through which we can make our lives much better. So we'll start with the introduction to Maharshi Valmiki in the next talk. Till then, Jai Shri Ram.